Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the first day of the NFL New Year. I am your host, Jared Clem. This is the Corner Booth Podcast. Yes, I'm still not changing my banner yet. Still Snakes Alive. Because apparently Howie Roseman isn't. He's been sleeping all day. The only thing he's done is trade Kenny Pickett. And I'm not a happy Eagles fan right now. To quote Matt, this is what I told Matt this morning. Dude, you just won a Super Bowl. Yeah, that season's over. Let's go win another. Let's do something serious. I'm not one of those. It's like once the season ends, like I'll be happy for about a month, and then it's like okay, new season. What are we doing now? So, um, quote Kendrick Lamar, it's not enough. That being said, there's my co-host Matt Ordazzo. Matt, happy NFL New Year to you, sir.
Oh yeah, no, I'm having a great time. We're not doing too much, but we're doing good things. Kind of, yes. I'm not really sure how I feel about Brandon Stevens. I talked to some Ravens fans. They have all told me, thank God that he left and you have him. Good luck.
That's what Frank
And
told me about Terrell Edmonds, which is scary.
so what I've gathered is that he's probably a better safety than corner, but we will see. It sounds like he's going to be cornerback too. But I like the Jamie and Sherwood re-signing. He was a big part of that middle linebacker position when C.J. Mosley went down. He stepped up big time. He deserved it. So I'm happy he's back. I really like the Justin Fields signing. I like it a lot. I'm not saying he's the answer for the future or anything like that. I think he was just a better option out of what we were looking at. So overall, I'd say this is going exactly how I expected it to for the Jets. And then Garrett Cole, it's just trying not to think about it, but I was preparing for it for the last week or two.
Fair. I mean, I look at it from this standpoint. I knew we were going to lose Milton Williams. Dude showed up with a clutch sports hoodie. I knew he was out. But then I was like, maybe we'll get Josh Sweat back now that Myles Garrett's not getting traded. Nah, he was going to see his boy Gannon. Unfortunately, little snake.
But you know what you do have? You got Big Bryce Huff.
I want that man jettisoned into the sun, aka Cleveland.
Oh man, just give him. I'll take him back. I don't know.
All I know is that apparently Russell Wilson might be the next quarterback of the New York Giants, and that makes me so happy.
Rodgers is possibly going to go to Pittsburgh, and the Jets and Pittsburgh play each other in 2025.
Dude, Rodgers chucking nukes to Pickens and Metcalf. That is a scary combination. Every Packers fan is going to be screaming, we should have drafted Metcalf instead.
I'm going to give it 4 weeks until Rodgers calls out Pickens for not running in the red line, and then Pickens has a meltdown.
I have a theory that Russell Wilson just being average at best is the reason why Pickens had so many meltdowns this year. I guarantee you put a guy with Rodgers' stature up there. I'm all about Rodgers to Pittsburgh. Also, by the way, Darius Slay to Pittsburgh is not official. It's not official yet. He can't sign anywhere. So basically, them presuming whoever leaked that was an idiot because now this is what happened exactly 2 years ago when they said he was going to the Ravens. 2 days later, he signs back with the Eagles. He's done this before. I'm not saying he's going back to Philly. I'm saying he hasn't locked in a contract yet. The Eagles won't cut him until June 1st. So it's only trades possibly.
This Pittsburgh is. I like that move if that does come to fruition. As long as they have an offensive line.
I don't.
I mean, I know you don't.
Well, we lost. I thought we were keeping Isaiah Rodgers. That one shocked me. That was the one that got me a little sad. I was like, I thought Isaiah was with us, man. Like, damn. I mean, I guess
so,
Ringo's are starting corner, which I mean, I'm not mad about because we have
so you got Kenyon, Ringo, and
Cooper DeJean. But you know, it's crazy. They think that's the fastest outside corner duo in the league because I think Rango ran a 4.3 and so did Quinyon. That's a fast corner. Yeah, Rango's 6'3", which everyone forgets, and he hits like a sledgehammer. It's just has a little problem with double moves, but then again, a lot of good corners do. I don't know. I'm not ready for Slay to go. I was like, okay, if Slay leaves, let's keep Rodgers, but now Rodgers going to Minnesota, which I mean, listen, I'm happy for him. Dude, I dealt a bad hand and kind of didn't help himself in Indy. Goes to Philadelphia, makes a couple key plays to win a Super Bowl. Now he gets a 2-year deal. Happy for him. At the same time, his corny ass TikToks are not on my feed anymore. But
no, oh man, I don't know when we're talking about this, but I can't get over the fact that Sam Darnold got $110.5 million.
Wild.
That's insane. I mean, he had a great year, but
young with big markets. He's a Vikings fan, right? I told him, y'all dodged the bullet. Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, no, I mean, so if he stayed with this Vikings, I think staying with the Vikings was his best bet to have continued success, because if you that was an amazing year that he had stats wise. I mean, I've never seen this man throw more than like, I don't even know, 17, 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, something
Do
like that.
like through 30 something touchdowns. He had a great year. I think his best chance was to stay in that system, because he drafted by the Jets, didn't work out. Went to Carolina for a couple years, didn't work out. He went to San Francisco, obviously wasn't the starter there. Finds his way in San Francisco to Minnesota, has a 14-3 season. Obviously, it seems like this system worked for him. I think the best bet for him to stay successful was to stay in Minnesota. Now he finds himself in Seattle, who has I would say maybe an average defense. Nothing exciting. But now they have no offense. He is back to the Jets. He is back on the Jets, a mediocre offensive line, one receiver, no tight ends. I'm not a big Noah Fant guy. Doesn't really have, and he liked tight ends. He used Chris Herndon a lot. Shout out to you. But you like that? You like that shameless plug right there?
Shameless plug, baby. We're all about the shameless plugs out here.
He's back on the Jets on another team. Like I said, Kenneth Walker's always hurt. They got Walker and Charbonnet. It's kind of like Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell.
Charbonnet.
He's got JSN, and that's it. I'm concerned for him. I don't know how he's going to perform this first year with the Seahawks, because
I think
have
Seattle's
just decided to rebuild.
Seattle's going to draft the first round receiver.
Yeah,
they're going to do it.
This is a team.
It's going to be Golden or Tate. Golden Tate, or maybe like an Ibuka, or maybe even like the third round, go get like a Trey Harris or a Errol. I pronounce it. It's Eric or Errol or whatever. Ao Manor, who is like my favorite prospect of this entire draft, of receivers. I love my boy X, but I'm going to talk about that man a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Seattle's a weird spot to me.
I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel like Seattle's a team that's going into a rebuild that didn't need to go into a rebuild. They just decided
they needed to retool.
They're doing a whole makeover, and all they needed was like a tune-up. They're like, let's just get the whole thing.
Matt, what's the biggest thing we've talked about with Seattle for the past 4 years? They've never. Every mock draft we've done this. Every year I say to draft this one position, they never do it. What is it, Matt? You know the answer.
It's offensive line.
No.
Corner.
Edge. They never draft edge rushers. They literally refuse. They haven't had a good edge rusher since Michael Bennett in 2017. Chris Clemens. That's how far we're going back here. They've never had a good edge rusher. Bruce Irvin's old ass? I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because I was going to say they drafted Deion Jordan, but that was Miami, and I think he went to Seattle for a year or something.
Yeah, and he was terrible there, too.
The Colts corner. Colts center Ryan Kelly is now going to the Vikings on a 2-year deal.
Vikings are out here swinging.
Ryan Kelly's on the Colts, I believe.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly was famously on the Bucs during the Brady years.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you know who actually has made an interest in Nate's team? They made a move. They got a corner. By the way, our producer's here. Hi, Nate. Buddy, you can come on camera if you want.
Oh, I was just waiting. Hi. Yes, we did sign someone. Okay, look, I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but we got a corner. It's better than what
we did. We got a 5th-round quarterback in DTR. DTR stands for Don't Throw Right.
Yeah, but aren't you excited?
For what? He's going to get cut week 2.
You got a 5th-round pick.
That is true. I mean, I swear we got a future XFL quarterback in DTR, though. Tanner McKee's our backup. We all know it. It's not really a big secret. Honestly, I'd take Ian Book over DTR at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Tyreek Hill tweeted, I'm sorry, you go first.
No, I was going to say happy Monday to you both. Hope you guys are doing well.
Happy football New Year, bud.
Indeed. Happy football New Year. Go ahead, Matt. My apologies.
No, I was going to say Tyreek Hill just tweeted, Greer is playing chess. I like. All they did was sign Zach Wilson. What is this chess move?
Maybe Tyreek Hill has had so many shots to the noggin. He thinks they're playing Connect 4.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. All I know is Justin Fields is in Dubai having the time of his life now that he made $40 million.
Dude, I actually kind of like Justin Fields playing for y'all. I think because unless you guys are moving up to get Cam Ward at 1, and I'm telling you right now, I think the Titans are taking Ward at 1. I'm not buying all this Abdul Carter crap. I think they're sticking pat. This so far, day 1, all I've seen them do is just dump cap space, and they're trying just to get. They're probably gonna go get somebody in day 2 or 3. I think tomorrow we're gonna see a lot of the moves. Like today, like all the big names we're gonna move. Tomorrow's gonna be like the okay.
Tomorrow might be like the Javon Holland, Justin Simmons type moves that we're going to see.
Yeah. Also, like Amari Cooper and who's the other big name receiver on the market right now?
I forgot that he's.
Yeah, there's 2 big name.
Cooper Kupp's getting released.
Cooper Kupp's going to get released Wednesday. It's going to be an interesting development. But yeah, so we also have the ticker going across. So keep an eye on that. Shout out to Nate for putting that together. Dude, you know what's crazy to me? In the last 48 hours, we've had Myles Garrett sign extension. We have had big name. We had a team get snaked for the best free agent, which was Milton Williams. I like poor Carolina fans, man. They can't win. Like the Patriots legit have a defense again. They go get Carlton Davis. They get Harold Landry for the edge. They get Milton Williams for the interior, and they got one more, I believe.
Robert Spillane.
Robert Spillane. Yeah, they literally fixed it. They literally added somebody on defense at every level. Wild,
dude. I'm so upset because like if you really break it down, we had probably like 3 or 4 down years of the Patriots. You had the one with Cam Newton when they went 7-9, but then they went to the playoffs with Mac Jones, and then Mac Jones in years 2 and 3 were pretty bad. So we had Mac Jones years 2, 3, and then Drake May year 1 of just down New England Patriots years, and it was great. I had a great time. The only problem was that my team had prime opportunity in that time span to
with only
make
one
something
win to show
of it.
for it.
Yeah, and So now I got this one off season where they were actually last in the division for the first time in I don't know how long, and this team comes out and it's let me mind you, spending their money.
Throwing Brinks trucks at people.
They paid Robert Spillane at the linebacker position. They paid Harold Landry. They paid. I mean, he deserved it, but they paid Milton Williams. They paid Carlton Davis. And on top of it, they paid Morgan Moses 3 years at age 34, 35 to be their right tackle for the next handful of years. So this team is pretty much solidifying the defense in free agency, which is clear cut as day. They're going to go offensive heavy in the draft, I think.
I think, interestingly enough, I don't think there's a tackle worth drafting that early.
No,
I don't think we're gonna talk about Will Campbell in 2 weeks. I am not a fan of what I've seen on tape. I think he's an interesting prospect, but he's too tall to play guard. And this isn't like we're like Becton's a mauler, like who can play. He'd have to go to a system like Philly where he can kind of like Stoutland can kind of correct all of his bad mistakes. Because on tape, there's a lot of mechanics stuff. And being as I played left tackle for a long enough time, at least at high school level, I kind of know the basics of the position. I've been covering the sport for 15 damn years. I'm not like somebody pointed. I think it was the Draft Network pointed it out to me, and I was kind of like, "Huh, I did not see that." And then apparently he has short arms, and it's a whole thing. But we'll talk about that one later. I still think the team that's the biggest, like most screwed in the AFC East is the Dolphins. Like the Jets are going to get better. The Jets and Patriots are both going to be like in the wild card hunt teams. We all know the Bills. They're the Bills. If they stop trading players to the freaking draft picks to the freaking Chiefs, they might actually keep the NFL from going into Armageddon again. You realize the Bills are the ones who traded them the pick for Patrick Mahomes. They're also the ones who traded the pick for Sky Moore and I believe Xavier Worthy. No, it's definitely Xavier Worthy. I don't know about. I think Sky Moore. Like, dude, like you haven't learned your lesson enough. I think all 3 of those players have been the reason you've lost.
Yeah.
At least one. But I digress. We'll go around the horn here. Nate, you can jump in on this if you want. What is the move you like the most this so far? Like, and it could be as obscure as Cam Bynum or his big name is Milton Williams? Matt, you go first. Who's your favorite move so far? You can say your Jets if you like. I don't care.
No, I'm not going to say the Jets. I like their re-signing of Jamie and Sherwood, underrated linebacker last year. I like the Justin Fields trade or signing for them. I think that was a really good a deal for them to get done for the quarterback position. I'm looking at some of these. I didn't even know about De'Ami Brown and things like that.
I did.
I don't know. Just to name, I have to talk about the Patriots because who didn't they sign? I love the Carlton Davis move for them. I think that's a really good signing for them. Pairing him up with Christian Gonzalez. Secondary was a big weakness for them this past year. I think that was a really big signing for them, and I think they're going to have a really good secondary with those two duos and shadowing everybody's wide receivers. I have to show, as much as I don't like them, but it's like you got to be unbiased. Doing this is for a living. They made great moves. Every move they made was great. They probably overpaid, definitely. They have a lot of money to do so, but that defense is now top 10. I'm going to go off and say the Patriots right now are probably going to have a top 10 defense in this coming season with everybody that they just solidified on that side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So just to highlight one, I'll say Carlton Davis pairing up with Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots.
I'm going to stick with New England as well. Milton Williams was the best defensive tackle in this class. It was strangely enough, he was the second best D tackle on his own team, obviously, because Jalen Carter, top 2 D tackle in the league. Tim and Sexy Dexy, just depends on what you want. But Milton Williams is unbelievable. He's almost like a perfect hybrid 3-4 ends meets a 4-3 D tackle. He's kind of a tweener. His pro comp was a small school Aaron Donald when he came out. If you don't remember, he was the actual draft pick that Howie Roseman almost got punched over in the locker room by some scout that has since retired because he doesn't know jack. Milton Williams is one of the best players I've ever watched play D-line. I'm very happy for him. He's gotten his money. I'm happy he's coming up. Hey, Milton, welcome to New England, brother. Sucks he's leaving, but I knew he was going to go for the bag. So I love that move. Nate, one other sneaky move, by the way, I don't hope this isn't one that you were going to say, Nate. Jeremy Chin to the Raiders. Love it.
That's a great one.
They lost their safety and within an hour had replaced him. And I am a big Jeremy Chin fan. Very big Jeremy Chin fan. So, Nate, who you got? Who's your favorite move so far today?
Yeah, I definitely like DJ Reed going from the Jets to the Lions. I know that hurts Matt a little bit. Losing one of your best. They weren't
going to re-sign him. He was asking for too much money.
Yeah, but he's one of the best corners in the league. I wish the Giants would have gotten him, but for him to go to Detroit, on a true contender, 3 years, I think it was like $48 million he's going there for. So good move there by the Lions. So and hopefully he's one of the more healthier guys, if I'm not mistaken, Matt. When he's obviously healthy, he's, like I said, one of the best out there in the league. Very underrated because he was kind of like the CB2 behind Gardner during his time with the Jets. So yeah,
he's a great corner.
Kind of hurtful for me. According to Rap Sheet, Bengals and Eagles linebacker Oren Burks are closing out on a 1-year deal. I don't blame Burks because he's going to be sitting behind Nakobe Dean or Trotter, the poor guy. So I feel bad because he was going to sit behind if the Eagles resign him, he's going to sit behind Dean or Trotter and Bond. So good for him, man. Oren Burks stepped up and played like an absolute animal. I think he's a hell of a linebacker. Got to see him up close and personal at the parade. He actually was one of the more sober ones out of the Eagles. But congratulations, Oren.
Oh, you can't read it. It just says major breaking news: the Dallas Cowboys have nobody new on day 1 of NFL free agency, and it just has a picture of Jerry like nobody.
Howie, wake up! I mean, listen, we are new to all these guys, but I want to see a splash. If we're letting all these guys walk and you got all this cap space, drop a nuke. Let's see something fun here. I'm waiting. Apparently, Dallas Goedert's getting shopped. I'm not happy about that. I don't buy it because I haven't seen an official report yet. It's been ESP, who's a nutcase, and Inside Eagles. That was the two. It hasn't been even reported national media-wise. So hopefully Goddard is not getting moved. I really would rather, at least, listen, if we're going to let him walk on free agency next year, great. But, if you're going to do that, go draft Elijah Arroyo. Go draft a game breaker at tight end. I do not want, us to just be okay, Grant Calcaterra is our starting tight end 1. That worked out real well for us this year when Goddard was out.
I like the it's very small, but I like the Nate Hobbs to the Packers deal.
I completely got. Yeah, he got because now that the Raiders are probably going to draft. The Raiders needed to keep him though, man, because him and Johnson together actually Jones make a good cornerback duo. Especially Pete Carroll likes his corners too, so it should be interesting. I think they're going to draft one in round 1 or 2. All right, now moves we don't get and don't like moves we think are going to backfire. Oh, so by the way, an honorable mention for me was Geno Smith to the Raiders. I am a huge Geno guy, as you all know, and I think him going to the Raiders is great because now they don't have to like mortgage their entire draft capital to go get like Cam Ward or Shador. Nate, what you got?
Darius Slayton's back. Slayton. Thank you.
Listen,
Thank you.
I'm liking it. You know why? Because he's a pain in my butt, but I know he makes you happy.
Thank you.
He always plays good against Philly and like 2 other teams.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I mean, he played good until Quinyon had to cover him. So, yes.
Don't remind me, boss.
Guantanamo Bay. My sister doesn't watch football at all. She's an Eagles fan. She has like Eagles gear and stuff like that, but she doesn't watch football unless like the Super Bowl. And she goes, and she goes, oh, I keep hearing you talk about this rookie. And I'm like, yeah, his name's Quinyon. And she goes, his nickname's Guantanamo Bay because he locks receivers up. And she's like, that's so messed up. I'm like, I know. That's why it's funny. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on bringing back Slayton. It's okay. Listen, I got Saquon extended. We kept Zach Bond. Life could be worse right now. We kept our 2 All-Pros. I cannot complain. One move I was just going to say about Geno, I think it's the perfect fit. I was trying to explain to my uncle. You guys know my uncle listens to the show. Big Raiders fan, right? I was trying to explain to him multiple times. I'm like, hey, listen, as I swear. Okay, Nate, can we set up a reminder for me? Because I just went live on Instagram because I completely forgot. Every Monday, just say, hey, dummy, make sure you turn Instagram live on. Every time, I swear. So our Instagram audience, welcome. Sorry, you guys were a little delayed. We had some technical difficulties starting up anyway. But Geno Smith, love it to the Raiders. 1, I think he kind of fits their attitude. 2, he knows Pete Carroll. He knows the offense he likes to run. Chip Kelly is going to love Geno Smith because Geno's got a quick release, a cannon arm, and is just mobile enough. But please, for the love of God, Raiders, do not draft Will Howard. Thank you. All right.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Will Howard looked abysmal at the combine.
I know, but still.
Jeremiah, listen, Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith are not going to be there to bail him out. Okay, I'm serious. He's the rich kid who got gifted a Lambo with a quarter mile left in the race. He's not much of a thing. Like, at least Cardell Jones was the reason they won. Him and Zeke were the reason they won. Will Howard,
I miss him.
I miss Cardell Jones too, man. He was Jameis with like a lot more just like, woo! All right. Okay, Bryce, by the way, what do you think about doing a little XFL preview? I'll start end of the month. I'll try to see if I can get one of our boys in here to start talking about it. Who's an XFL expert?
Who's your team again?
St. Louis Battlehawks.
All right. I guess we're all Battlehawks, I guess.
Former Eagle, one-time Eagle, Hakeem Butler. One of the best receivers in the league, man.
DC
Wait,
Defenders,
what are you, Matt? No,
DC,
Matt.
With the beer snake. The only time I'll rep red.
Is there a California team? No, there's not, huh?
No, it's like Texas, Missouri, Alabama, Michigan.
I can't be a New York Guardians fan because
me neither.
They don't address the quarterback positions. I just can't.
They don't exist.
They don't address the position. I can't do another one. Can't do it.
Yeah. New York teams have a problem besides Josh Allen. Oh, by the way, Josh Allen, $330 million, and he's still paid less than Dak Prescott.
That's insane. So, I know we were going to talk. No, you know what? Let's talk about the moves we didn't like first because we're going to get off topic with this.
Yeah,
one. So I'll try and remind myself to bring it up when we're done.
All right. So moves you didn't like. We'll go reverse, Maddie. I know you got one in mind, so I'll let you go first.
Oh yeah, it's Javon Kinlaw to the Commanders for 3 years, $45 million. Javon Kinlaw was terrible last year. I mean, he filled in because of injuries. The man committed more penalties than he was trying to get sacks.
He's always had a temper issue, even when he going back.
Oh my God, it was one of those things where you sign him in the offseason and all the Jets fans on Twitter just try really freaking hard to like make you think that this is some genius under the radar signing, and then you see it live and you're like, no, this is like he didn't have a bad preseason. He just was just not good. He just a lot of penalties, a lot of 5-10 yards on. We get the third down stop, and boom, 5-yard, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down because Javon Kinlaw had to do this or that after the play. So the Commanders decide that the answer to replace Jonathan Allen is to give Javon Kinlaw a 3-year, $45 million deal. That was my least favorite move of the offseason so far.
All right, Nate, what do you got?
Honestly, the Panthers re-signing J.C. Horn to a pretty decent sized contract, 4 years,
Really?
$100 million. Yeah, 4 years, $100 million. It's not.
He's
It's
a
a
top
lot.
15. He's a top 15 corner, man.
I
Like,
know it's a lot though for a guy. I mean, heck, freaking Adebo got paid less, and let's be honest, Adebo was like one of the best corners in terms of an incompletion or
one-hit wonder
force.
versus continued constant success.
Yeah, but Horn hasn't just. I don't know. Like to me, he doesn't scream. And like I said, I could be completely wrong about. I don't watch much.
That's
Film
why
of
I'm
the
only
Panthers,
questioning
let's
because
be
I'm
honest.
like, really? Like, I feel like there's like a lot worse. Oh, we forgot to even put like Devontae Adams is supposed to be on this list too to the Rams.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great deal.
Yes.
I thought it was a great deal last night too. I mean, it's hilarious. You send out one old receiver for another in LA apparently, but I mean, why not?
One stays more healthier than the other. I will give it to Devontae Adams. He stays on the field more, and I don't even care about the money. I think it's a great deal. He still has a lot of time. He still has a lot of juice left in the tank, and I think all of us watching Rodgers play last year, I don't think he's got that moxie anymore. He's just too much of a stone wall behind the line. So Matt Stafford, a little younger, can get the ball out a little quicker. I think this could be really good for Adams.
I just looked up J.C. Horn. So the thing that was, I forgot what was bothering me, so I looked it up. It was the health thing that kind of bothers me.
Yep, there it is.
That's the thing. He made his first Pro Bowl this past year, which is great. Like, good for him. But it's just to be paid the highest paid corner in the NFL.
My bold prediction, I don't know how long that's going to last. I have a feeling that we're going to see a Sauce Gardner extension sometime this year. I think they're going to get it done sooner than later because the market's only going to just increase.
So did you guys know that? I keep seeing this tweet like multiple times throughout the morning today. Basically, ever since the Justin Fields signing, and congrats to you, Matt. By the way, I'm sure you're happy about that going to the Jets.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on Daniel Jones because he's kind of like the domino.
According to Diana Rossini, the entire league is waiting for this, which I don't know who the entire league is. I'm not waiting for it.
I'm not either.
Colts, Vikings, or another. If the Vikings go for Jones, that opens up. Well, no, Rodgers right now is decided between the Giants and the Steelers. I would choose Pittsburgh if I'm him. I mean, I would love him. I'm just saying for his benefit, Pittsburgh's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to get crunched by Jalen Carter twice a year? No. No. I would say the one thing I do love is one Matt took mine. I was going to take a shot about I guess I get a weird feeling that the Packers overpaid for Nate Hobbs. Looking at the contract, he's a great player. I'm not really complaining. Oh yeah, Bears paying a fortune for aging Grady Jarrett. Like, I listen. Good for him, man. Get the bag, but he hasn't been elite in Atlanta for a lot. Our boy Stacy can kind of corroborate that. He hasn't been elite in Atlanta in a while. So I just.
It's been at least like 3 years or so, 3-4 years.
Yeah, he hasn't been like that, like signature edge rusher. I mean, interior pass rusher. So I'm like kind of like, eh. Also, Cam Bynum, $60 million on basically only been good for 1 year. I mean, his best calling card is his celebrations. He was an okay safety.
Former Cal Bears.
Can I throw out a controversial take here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about the DK trade to Pittsburgh.
I love it. Crash out, boys. We riding hard, man.
So I don't want. It's not my least favorite. The Steelers, I don't think are in any position that are going to go all the way to the Super Bowl anytime soon. Right now, like yes, they have.
They have a shot.
I will. Yeah. How long have we been saying that for 2 years with the Jets?
Here's the thing, is Matt. There's a little bit of a roster between the Jets and the Steelers. Also,
so you got
line is better. Sorry.
All right, we didn't have a bad offensive line. He just could not run. He couldn't move.
Also,
Justin Fields could run though.
Kenny Pickett to the Browns was my winner. Let's go.
I don't know. I mean, even if they get Rodgers, I know you got Mike Tomlin back there. I don't necessarily know if they're going to immediately just go and win 9 or 10 games, but I don't know. I mean, listen, the quarterback future for that team is up in the air. He's going to a team that does not have a solidified QB1. You don't know if it's going to be Russ. You don't know if it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. You don't know if they're going to draft anybody. He's got George Pickens, who is a little bit of a head case on the opposite side, and I know that off. I mean, they got what happened?
Wait, isn't Pickett going to the Steelers or no? He's going to the Browns, right?
Pickett's going to the Browns. I was just showing some love to Super Bowl winning quarterback Kenny Pickett, the new starting quarterback of the Browns. Because
I thought Matt was talking about Pickett to the Steelers.
No, Pickens. No, Pickens.
Pickens. Gosh dang. My ears ain't
golly shucks.
No, I just I don't know.
I love your lack of cursing. It cracks me up.
Curses
like a southern white girl. I love it.
I mean, he got paid and he deserves it. He's just going to a team that doesn't have a quarterback and has a big question mark at that position for the future, especially. So it's just a lot of what ifs. He didn't exactly go to a contending situation that was going to, give him a chance to win.
Traded there, he didn't have to sign, obviously, but
that's fair. Just don't know. I mean, right. I'm sure he'll do fine. We just got to see who the quarterback is.
I guess mine is Cam Bynum. I guess that's my one, just because I want to see more. He's only he really only had one solid year. I mean, he was not awful for Minnesota, but it's dude, 4 years, $60 million. I don't know if they go right for a safety, but damn, brother, I like Jeremy Chin's contract a lot better because at least you know what you're getting with him. All right, we already talked about Geno, Devontae Adams.
What I had to say was I wanted to wait till we had that off the topic. So I think something about the Bengals said something about, or Jamar Chase wanted to be the highest paid player, positional player, something like that. Something about
basically it's the highest paid non-quarterback or whatever.
Yeah, so I think after, I don't know if it was DK's deal or whatever it was, I think now the price has gone up from when they offered him something for the area of $30 million a year last year, which didn't work out. Now I think for him to achieve that, he'd have to be paid around $40 per year.
Yeah. So we talked about this before. I think receivers should be your fourth highest paid player on your offense. Quarterback, left tackle, running back. I think third. I think quarterback tied for third with running backs. I think if you have an elite level running back, you need to pay them just as much as a receiver, because we saw what happened. The difference between having DeAndre Swift and the difference between having Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is probably the most talented running back of our generation, but still, you have to Derrick Henry with the Ravens. That offense was 1,000 times better with him than it was with Gus Edwards.
He's also one-dimensional.
The artist formerly known as Justice Hill. All I'll say, I think DK became one-dimensional because that's all he used him for in that offense in Seattle. I mean, listen, he's fast, he's big, he can catch the ball vertically. He was elite his first 2 years in the league. Okay. Have him do that in Pittsburgh. They have a history of making fast receivers a lot of money. Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace, even Plexico Burris. They have a history of making fast, big receivers or just fast receivers money. Dude, Mike Wallace on the Steelers was a problem when we were kids.
Yeah.
I'm saying, just do it. Who cares? I also now Pickens ain't going to get double covered. I think this is a great move for Pittsburgh. I just think they paid a little too much, but it's not the worst move I've seen.
I just want to see who they're going to have at quarterback, because if they wind up running it back with Russ, I mean, maybe Russ and Rodgers are on their quarter four.
I think it's got to be Rodgers.
Rodgers is in the 2-minute warning of his career.
Well, here's the thing, though. The word on the street, I've heard this from multiple people now, two sources close to Pittsburgh. One of them being our boy Frank reported on it too, I believe. Or it might have been our boy Max Lopes. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check. The Steelers are going to go in on a quarterback early, day one or day two. They may go get Jackson Dart. End of round one, Jackson Dart to the Steelers I love, because he loves throwing the ball deep, and you have two of the better deep ball threats in the league. I'm okay with that, especially if he's going to sit behind Rodgers for a year. I think that's that Pittsburgh is back, baby. It's going to be Pittsburgh, Baltimore running that division for another 10 years. or wait and get Kyle McCord. I think Pittsburgh has a unique shot. They should go get Rodgers. Great idea. But also, like, Kirk Cousins is still a Falcon. We don't know where he's going yet. Because he's not the starter. Penix is the starter. So, also, who could... It's almost like somebody predicted that at the beginning of the season. That Penix would finish the year as the starter. Who said that? Oh, yeah, it was me. What did Nate and Chris kept making jokes about how I never miss, apparently.
Yeah. Chris.
Okay. Apparently I'm Nostradamus when it comes to football moves. We're going to talk receivers in about 10 minutes. Any final thoughts on day one of NFL free agency tampering period?
What are the Patriots doing again with the whole Josh Dobbs going there?
I think he's going to be a backup, which means they're going to deal Joe Milton, which I think Joe Milton to who is it? I heard rumors they were going to go. See, I thought Joe Milton to the Raiders was a thing. I still think it might be Joe Milton to the Raiders. It's okay, Nate. Joe Milton to the Raiders. Think about it. Behind Geno in that system with Joe Milton's mobility, like, dude, Chip Kelly just letting him sit the year. They might not even go get a guy from the class because Milton's only, year 2 of his deal?
Yeah. Yep.
I like that one as well. I like the Patriots going to get Dobbs, though, because that's a solid backup, and he's a good mentor to Mr. Drake May. So I like the Patriots. I think they won day one, obviously. Here's the thing, though. Unless you're the Dallas Cowboys, nobody actually loses in free agency. Unless you overpay for bad players. I think the Commanders are really trying to swing hard. And I will say this. The Laramie Tunsil move was great. All this just to get clapped by Philadelphia. It's not enough. All right.
The Patriots signed Matt Collins. Yay!
That's my dog, man. I love Big Mac. He's got a Super Bowl ring with us.
Yeah, with his barefoot self.
Hey, listen, walking barefoot's fun, dude. I walk barefoot during the summer in the grass all the time.
That's scary. I get scared like if I do that, I'm gonna sip in like some dog poop or something on accident, and I don't want to see it.
Oh, so quick correction, by the way. Oren Burks is a 2-year deal with the Bengals.
Ah. Okay.
Hey, listen, I'm happy for Oren, man. He was a hell of a player for us. He stepped up in the playoffs. Was definitely an energy guy. I love it. It'll be great to have hopefully Nakobe Dean back by October, and hopefully Jeremiah Trotter Jr. or which linebacker, whoever we draft, is gonna fill in the gaps. Now, Howie, I know you usually don't make your magic till day 2 or 3. Please, for the love of God, do something tomorrow just to keep my mental health intact. One other, what's so funny? I saw underrated move nobody talked about. The Titans went out and got a left tackle.
That moves Latham to the right side, which is his natural position, as you know, right, boss? So that's good. I'm happy for them. I want them to succeed. That's good for Ward. That's really good for Ward.
I'm saying right now, I think. Listen, they got receivers, they got backs. Now they have another offensive lineman. We'll see what does tomorrow. I have a weird feeling that we're gonna see. Like I said before, I'm not buying. By the way, my first mock draft comes out in a week and a half. If anybody wanted to know, I will release it on the show first, and then I'll make it public. I'll send it to one of our writers at Value Sports, maybe the handsome gentleman next to me, and he'll kind of clean it up for consumption because I'm a little, as Kevin calls it, partially illiterate. I'm not actually, but I stopped caring about writing about a year before COVID. So basically,
I would love if the Titans get Ward and you pair up with Restrepo in the 3rd round. Oh, that'd be so cool.
So we're gonna talk about that.
I like reunions.
Perfect transition. So we're talking receivers, gentlemen. It's time for our Corner Booth Draft Series wide receiver edition. Next week, obviously, will be tight ends. Following week will be offensive line, so guards and tackles. Week after that, edge rushers and interior D line, then linebackers, and then safeties, corners, and then we will do that. Then it'll be the draft. We'll do our corner booth mock draft, our final one, because that'll be draft week. It's almost here, boys. We're literally a month and a week away, so we're gonna steamroll through it. I love how we're doing tight ends. Maybe we'll do tight ends and tackles for my birthday. I'm down with that. All right, we're gonna get. Oh, by the way, next week I turn 30 next Monday, which is horrifying.
Man, you old as heck, boss.
Oh, beat your skinny butt, man. Get back in your box. All right. Maddie. So we got to talk about the elephant in the room with wide receiver. You consider Travis Hunter wide receiver in this class? We all know what Nate's a fanboy. He loves that stuff.
I think he's a better receiver than corner.
I do too.
So I would say yes, because I think this is his stronger position. Now, to each their own, if you have him in your top 5 or not. Mm-hmm. I think he is a better offensive weapon at the receiver position than he is defensively at corner. So I would say yes, that I think he could count as a receiver. I mean, I have no problem admitting it. Spoiler, he's most likely not going to be on my corners list.
Yeah.
Depending on, how it works.
Oh, he'll be. Okay, so like the corner class this year, it's not like last year where you had Wiggins, Mitchell, and DeJean and Arnold. I think he'll be probably 4 or 5. So Nate, I have talked about this multiple times. My biggest problem with Travis Hunter is I do not trust his lack of physicality. When he plays corner, he's a receiver playing corner. I think his natural position is wide receiver. And kind of, I'm not going to say shame on Dion, but he's very raw. That's my opinion on Travis Hunter for all of his game. You're drafting him to improve at his positions because he is very raw at both. He's a raw freak athlete who can play both sides. We'll start off, though. Honorable mentions. I guess I'll go first. I texted it to Nate. All right. First of all, shout out to Xavier Restrepo. He's not my honorable mention because he's going to be a 3rd round, 4th round receiver. He's going to be a problem. Borderline 4.5, 4.4 speed. Makes every tough catch impossible to cover in man-on-man coverage, at least in the ACC play. Howie, get him. Put him as our 4. Then trade Dotson next year. Get X. Okay, I want Xavier Restrepo. But actually, my number 1 Hurricane I want is Elijah Arroyo to be the number 2 tight end behind Goddard. And then possibly Damian Martinez to back up Saquon. Anyway, so but without further ado, Alec A.O. Manor out of Stanford. He's my honorable mention. Wild name, but he's big, 6'2", over 200 pounds. Runs hard as hell. Kind of reminds me a little of an A.J. Brown way when he has the ball in his hands. Like, it's hard to bring him down. His highlight tape is beautiful. It's wide receiver porn. It's nothing but tough catches, coming back to the ball, guys draped over him because the quarterback played Stanford was abysmal this year. Ask the rival, Nate. What do you think? Stanford football is down this year?
Oh, yeah, by far.
Yeah, so
terrible.
Also, sneaky speed is estimated 40 times around a 4.42. And you see it when he's running. The problem is he's double covered every damn play. And he's still catching the ball. Sneakily shifty. I think he's going to be kind of like that.
Nate's got a face.
In between, Nate, hold on. Let me finish this take. I kind of see him as a Xavier Legette kind of type of player. Not as explosive, but a better, fundamentals receiver. He's my honorable mention. Nate, what do you got?
The Cowboys signed somebody.
Is it a punter?
No, it's a running back.
Javonte Williams. Oh, my God.
Williams.
My boy Walters is going to lose his mind. That's his boy. Oh, my God. That is the best thing I've seen.
Oh, my gosh. A whopping $3 million off 1 year.
Wow. That's all. Sorry, boss. But 1 year, 3 million.
I love the Cowboys are a meme. All right. Honorable mention was obviously Alec Aomayer. Great name. All right. We're going to go number 5. I'm going to go with Luther Burden III out of Missouri. Now, I was like, Jared, he was the number 1 receiver coming into the year. Here's the problem. He was passed up by a sophomore on his own team. Not great. Listen, but then again, not everyone's Scary Terry where they can be okay in college and be a menace in the pros. Very shifty, 4.4 flat speed. He's a strong runner. His catch focus is really good, which is, it sounds weird, but you don't see him drop easy catches. And for a guy who's fast, that can be a problem, a la, Deshaun Jackson's many couple of those in his career. My pro comp to him was a faster Debo meets Jeremy Maclin. Like shifty, straight line speed. He's a deep threat. He can play the ball as like a catching the ball out of the backfield type. He's not going to be your best receiver. But he's going to be like where the top, like the number, like, okay, so like let's be honest, the top like 5 number 2 receivers in this league: DeVonta Smith, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin. Help me out here, fellas. I don't know, like Cooper, Devontae, like they're all number 1s on certain rosters, but they're number 2s on their roster because they have a certified top 10 guy on their roster already, a la Jamar Chase, AJ Brown, etc. So he is going to be one of those top tier number 2 receivers. Not good enough to be a top 10 number 1, but good enough to be a bottom tier number 1, I guess. I think he is a very good player. I just don't like how he wasn't the primary focus of their offense. And it really scares me if he's that much of a talent. Number 4 is Travis Hunter. This is an asterisk on it, a big old asterisk. If he decides to be a receiver, I love that he's trying to play both sides. I think it's fun. Do I think it's as hard as what Otani's doing? No, Travis, shut up. But I think he's an exceptional athlete. He's fast as hell, makes athletic catches. He bailed out Shedeur Sanders so many times last year. But a little raw in the route running department. The fact he didn't run his 40 kind of bugged me a little. I'm like, dude, if you're that much of a freak athlete, why not run it? There's a lot of mystery behind the Travis Hunter pick. You're kind of basing off potential. The other 3 guys I have in front of him are like proven solid contributors off the rip. So that's why I have him 4. Listen, the book's been written about Travis Hunter. He's a Heisman winner, a freak athlete. He'll probably go top 5 in the draft because he can play as a top 5 player or top 10 player at 2 different positions in this class. That's incredible. So there you go. All right, number 3, Emeka Egbuka. Or Egba. Ooh. I pronounced that right the first time, right? Okay. His pro comp's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Seriously, like this kid is a freak out of the slot position. Elite slot route runner is what I wrote in big freaking letters. By the way, I was watching film last night with my buddies on Xbox. I was on Discord with them. I got off my game because I was like, I'm kind of bored. I was playing Fallout until like 11. I was like, I want to watch some film. I started watching it, Emeka Egbuka's film. I'm like, oh. And my buddy's like, what are you watching? I'm like, dude, this kid out of Ohio State, the senior, not the freshman. I am a sucker for a fast slot receiver who can break guys' ankles while running routes. Emeka Egbuka is that dude. He's fast enough. Listen, he's not going to blow you over the top running a 4.3. Okay, listen, that's not his game. But he's strong. He's physical. He runs elite routes. And I say he runs hard about a lot of players. But, dude, you're not going to arm tackle this guy. And my favorite part about it is he makes the reliable catches. Everything's there. There's no misses here. Very similar to what I said about Alec Aomayer. Just like great catch concentration and just elite route running. Like he's going to be one of the next, like, hey, top 5 slot receivers. You go get Egbuka. He's that dude. Number 2, out of the University of Texas, Matthew Golden, the quieter of the Texas receivers of the draft, just comes out solid, runs the best 40 time out of all the receivers. Just, casual. Yeah, first where I wrote, stupid explosive. He's just fast. great hands. The route running is very underrated. A faster wide receiver one. That's what I think his ceiling is. I want to see more of him attacking the ball downfield, like tracking the ball, like actually catching the ball and beating corners over the top and tracking. Like, unfortunately, when you're watching a Quinn Ewers film, you kind of wince every time he throws the ball. My pro con for him was Waddle meets Ochocinco. That was my pro con for him. He has the shiftiness of Ochocinco and like the hands concentration, but he's got Waddle's like catch the ball and blow out the entire defense, and like just has like blazing speed. Number one, it's Tate McMillan, guys. Like, it's not hard. My pro con for him was Drake May meets AJ Green. He's more athletic than Drake May, but he's more. Than Drake.
London.
But he's a little shiftier than AJ Green. Really quick hips, decent in the open field, especially for a guy who's 6'5" and a half or 6'5", whatever he's listed as. Right. He's not going to beat you off the line. He's not super explosive. But if I'm drafting a guy like him, he just has to be fast enough. Okay, listen, Alshon Jeffrey made a whole living in the league doing that. So did AJ Green. A lot of these 6'3" guys who aren't going to beat you off the line with blazing speed, but know how to run a route, know how to catch the ball, and know how to be there as a faster security blanket than, say, a tight end. You know what you're getting with Tate. He's going to be a primary receiver who's going to catch the ball. He's going to make guys miss. He's going to be a jump ball menace, especially in the red zone. It's not an overthinker. This is probably the simplest receiving number one I've seen in a while. All right. I've talked too much. Matt, what do you think?
I like that one. That was a great list. I liked how you emphasized Tate McMillan. You abbreviated that because I was going to see how you were going to pronounce his first name. And then I was going to.
I had him in my dynasty for 1 year.
I was going to see how you pronounced it, but then you just abbreviated, so I'm going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I tried to pronounce it once. I think it was like in like our draft preview show, and I was just our college football preview show, and I was like, not me.
Oh, it's okay. All right. So honorable mention. First of all, just want to shout out Kyron Lacey. You complete me, ho. Shout out to that was the greatest college football thing I've ever seen. So I just had to
shout out to Ken Jeong, man.
In all seriousness, before Kyron Lacey got into some legal issues, I'm not saying he was going to be one of the better receivers in this draft. I'm just saying I think he would have been a lot higher up on the list.
He would probably be my 5.
Yeah, he's going to be a threat, I think, in this league because he's coming from wide receiver factory U in LSU. And he might go undrafted because of things that have gone on. I hope the Jets take a leap flyer on him, but I think he could be a great receiver in this league, so I just want to shout him out. My honorable mention, because to me, honorable mentions are supposed to be just fun. Like they're supposed to be guys that you think have the potential to be really good, that aren't really being talked about, and you just want to put their names on the map. That's how I view honorable mentions, and that's why I put Xavier Restrepo on my list, because I think he is going to be – the Miami games that I watched, he was an electric, explosive guy. He was fun to watch. So hear me out. I was watching a much better Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
Like a 5'10", 209 pounds.
Crowder.
Yeah, a faster but more explosive, a more of a franchise type of receiver of a Jamison Crowder. Like Jamison Crowder if you really break Jamison Crowder down, he was not a bad receiver at all. He's actually a very good receiver. He's just not elite. You know, he's not. He's very good. He's just not, somebody that you think of when you think of who's like one of the greatest, slot receivers. But I think Xavier Restrepo could be an amazing slot receiver in this league. But he's 5'10", 209 on Miami. Listen, he hit that bench press 17 times for a short little 209-pound guy. He hit that bench press 17 times. He's a feisty slot receiver with a great route running capability, great footwork and burst. Great route change of direction. He's got a high level of awareness. He can block and screen plays as well if you need him to. He does lack ideal size. Again, he's 5'10". He's not a big receiver. He's got a little short arm, so smaller catch radius possibly, but tough. May struggle in contested catches, but I really think he's going to be a mid-round pick, maybe round 3 or 4, like you guys were saying. And I think he could very well be the sneakiest and most underrated receiver in this draft. And I think he's a steal wherever he goes. All right, number 5. We were just talking about him before. I got Travis Hunter at my number 5 spot. I like him a lot as a receiver. As a corner, I think he's obviously a very good player. It's not hard to grasp the fact that he is going to be drafted within the top 5, top 10 because of his elusiveness, being a dual positional player. Now, just to name the Jets and Giants as examples, because that's 2 of our teams on the show, and we are all picking within the top 7, he's probably going to go somewhere in there, and I could see him being a factor for either of those teams on either side of that ball for that. But wide receiver out of Colorado, 6 feet, 188. He's got a better size up receiver than he does at corner, I think, he'll have the speed for corner, maybe. We'll see. He's an exciting multi-positional player. He's got great athleticism and ball skill, solid instincts and route recognition. As a speedy athlete, also possesses consistent tempo as a receiver. He's improved each season on both ends of the ball, and he could be NFL's first ever two-way player. And I mean, that's just, you're talking about Shohei Ohtani in the NFL, and that's why he's going to go high in this draft. He gets dominated in press coverage, though. He takes heavy contact, and he's got average toughness and size. Just off of his frame, I could see Devonta Smith in him. Just off of his frame, being a slim type of receiver.
Is he the elite route runner that Smith was?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. That's what we're going to find out. If he does either do 2 positional in the NFL, if he does do 1, I think he should stick to receiver if he does 1. But there is just a lot of potential and a lot of rawness in this guy, and he could very well be a great receiver in this league. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and be a number 1 on every single team, but what I was getting at is if you go to the Jets, you go to the Giants, not saying he's going to, but if you just choose those 2 teams, he is a great wide receiver 2 complement to Neighbors or Wilson. So we'll see what he does, but I like his athleticism. I think he's going to be really talented. I'm eager to see what he's going to play, and I hope he plays receiver. Number 4, Matthew Golden out of Texas. 5'11", 191. He ran a 4.29 40. That is speed. That is speed meets Tyreek Hill right there. He's got adequate speed, agile feet when running routes, good route running tempo alteration, big play kick. He's got big play at the kick return. He has 2 special teams touchdowns in, I believe, in the last year or so. Or when he was at Houston, he had 2 of them. He's got good physicality, strength when making contested catches, has franchise wide receiver 1 potential. Needs to refine his route running, needs to work on drop passes and also hand timing on throws. NFL had his player comp as like Chris Olave. He's got much more speed, I think, than Olave, but I can see the rest of it.
So I said Waddle meets Ocho Cinco.
Yeah. Number 3, I have Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. 6'1", 202. He's got quality ball skills, primarily a slot guy. Has the ability to make sudden adjustments, and possesses a great ball tracking ability. He has a background as an outfielder, which I think helps out his ball tracking capability when he's on offense. He's got average speed and quickness. He takes time to reaccelerate after slowing down, and he kind of lacks explosiveness a little bit. NFL had his comp at JSN, which I could see Jackson Smith and Jigba in that. Number 2, I got Luther Burden. Now, I was high on this guy for a good amount of the season last year or so. Luther Burden III out of Missouri. He's 6 foot 206. Not a lot of like towering guys, minus the first one that everybody probably has as number 1 on their list. But he's smaller height-wise out of receiver. But he ran a 4.4 140, which is great. He's got all-star athleticism and playmaking ability. He's got top-end speed, makes difficult passes look easy. He's got big play potential, and he can win passes at a high rate. Needs to work on drop passes in traffic, and 75% of his career catches were inside of 10 yards. I need to see a little more out of him. They had his comp at Garrett Wilson, and I can see that a lot. Garrett Wilson took a lot of short yard passes to the house. He was also a deep ball threat at times, but he also made the impossibles look easy. Shout out to his Nike catch last year when he literally looked like the Jordan emblem when he caught that pass with that one hand in the end zone. So that's why I had him at Garrett Wilson as well. I agreed with that comparison. Then you got Tate McMillan, number 1 out of Arizona. I don't think that's a surprise that he's number 1 on most people's list. He's 6'4", 219. He's the biggest receiver we got so far. He's great receiver height, great footwork, size, and athleticism. He's a solid route runner, top-tier ball skills. He's got amazing highlight reel tape from 2023 And in my opinion, he's just the clearest day wide receiver 1 in this draft. Comparisons, I was kind of looking at Amari Cooper with his route running capability. Just because Amari Cooper is one
very
of the
tall Amari Cooper.
Yeah, but when it comes to route running, I mean, Amari Cooper is a tremendous route runner. But that's my number 1 right there. I don't think it's. I think most of us probably have him at the 1.
All right, Nate.
All right. Yeah, I like your both of you guys' list. I would keep mine short. It's pretty much similar as you guys. First off, Hunter at 5 for me. Yeah, Jared, when you talked to us off air about it, I was like, do I really want to put Hunter in here? Because I like, Ayo Manor, I like Burden. I wouldn't put Hunter over either. I would put him over Ayo Manor. I know it's hard for me to put for me to even consider putting Hunter over Burden, but I decided that Burden was a better prospect compared to Hunter. The thing that does worries me the most, like you mentioned, was the fact that just his, not the size, but just like he's not really physical. And I feel like he'll be like, if he's a receiver, that's going to be good. He's going to be a very talented receiver. He just needs to bulk up a little bit more. I feel like earlier in his career is going to be like kind of pushed around by like more physical corners who are stronger than him. A lot of his production last year was more on like short/intermediate throws by Sanders, not so much like the deep threat down the field type of plays that he was making. So we'll see. But I like Hunter as a receiving prospect. I would prefer him more as a corner compared to a receiver, but that's just me. I like Igbuka better than Golden or Burden, just because of his route running. Igbuka has great speed, and like defenders will have to respect that at the next level. But his savvy route running, to me, he's a better route runner compared to like a Burden or a Golden, because they kind of need refinement in terms of their route tree and stuff. But Igbuka's already kind of past that requirement already, I should say. But yeah, McMillan.
Dre Greenlaw is going to the Broncos. 3-year deal.
Oh,
$35 million allegedly.
That's a good
say,
one.
according to Rap Sheet.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
49ers getting weaker, baby.
I know you like that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, man. Yeah, Golden's a good one too. I know you guys had him on the list. He's a speedster, and yeah, Burden's a guy who can put in the slot, outside, jet sweeps, all the things. So I like the receiving class this year.
I love how the only two things we have similar, besides having obviously Tate at number 1, is Matt and Nate have the same number 5, and me and this Nate have the same number 6. Other than that, and me and Matt have the same number 3. All of us have one thing similar, but the rest of our lists are all different, which is kind of cool.
That's good.
I also think this kind of shows our preferences for wide receivers.
I like me some size with good size, speed, and good route running. I think the top 2 have it. Well, McMillan, not so much top end speed, but he can create good separation, which is good.
Des Bryant scarred me for life when watching him bully DRC when I was in college. So I've always been partial to big physical receivers who can run as a secondary thing. But then also, I was raised on the whole Deshaun Jackson kind of just run right by it, catch the ball in space, and he's out. That's why I like Matthew Golden. And Igbuka is one of my favorites because he reminds me, obviously, one of my favorite non-Eagles, that'd be Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I believe is the best slot receiver in football, and it's not even close. So Travis Hunter, I kind of had to put him there out of respect for what he has done. But I still think his biggest problem is we don't know exactly what he's going to be.
I think we can all agree that if whoever does draft him, you don't draft him to be the immediate number 1 at either position. You bring him in to be the number 2 guy, correct?
Or number 3, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, number 3 would be even better for him.
Like at least like number 3 receiver, number 2 corner.
Yeah.
I think Travis Hunter is going to be just as good as the staff that he gets drafted to, because I think he has a lot of raw talent. I think he could. I'm not even. In all honesty, I think he could be one of the greatest prospects and just an amazing player in the NFL. Like, I really think that he could be Hall of Fame potential if he can get this whole 2-player positional thing going. I think he needs to find the right system that's going to let him do that and is going to put him in the position to be the most successful. Just to put my team out there, I mean, before we got Aaron Glenn, I'm not saying he's going to be just like everybody else, but studies show That's the track record we have. And an organization like that, like the Giants, like the Browns, like I fear they're not going to utilize him in the way that he needs to be. I would want him to go to more of a franchise that has a track record of actually developing players. Like
maybe he's had a bad couple of years in a row and needs to kind of get their stuff back together.
Yeah. I just think it depends on the coaching staff that he goes to if they're going to be able to utilize all of his talents to make him as successful as he really has the potential to be. I think he could be an amazing player that this league has never seen before. I think he just has to go to the right coaching.
So outside of the Jets, where do you see him as a good? So
this is, I don't know, this could contradict a lot of things, but the state of the Raiders that are in right now with Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, and then you got Pete Carroll as a coach, I think that's a great combination for him to go into. I think they're going to have a really good offensive play caller, and they're going to have a great head coach that has had a lot of success in Seattle, has won a Super Bowl, went there multiple times. I think that'd be a really great situation for him to be in, especially if Mark Davis is a little more hands-off. I think everything will be fine. But I'm just trying to think of teams that are picking early because I don't think he's going to last too far out. Like I don't want to see him in.
He's going to be a top 10 draft. Yeah. Unless he bombs at his pro day, top 10 draft pick.
If he drops past the top 5, that's concerning to the point where it's like, why? Because the Patriots
really.
Browns at 2, Patriots at 4.
But the Browns have way more needs than drafting a gadget guy who's like you're drafting on potential. They needed somebody who's going to help them now.
Yeah, but you don't pass up on a 2-way, guys. It's just a 2 position thing.
This isn't baseball, though, Nate, where like they can like I'm not sold on him as a corner. I'm not really sold on him as a receiver, as I had in my rankings. If we're drafting him as a receiver only, he's number 15, maybe 20. If we're drafting him at the highest, if we drafting him only as a corner, he's probably back into the first round. But because he plays both, that jumps him up into the top 15. I don't know where I want to put that because how do I pay that position? Like how do I pay both? So it becomes a weird thing.
You know, it'd be a nice. I'm trying to go. Let's say it goes to Denver. You're on your opposite side of Cortland Sutton. You're opposite side of Patrick Surtain. You could be the second or third corner.
And Riley Moss. Do not forget the other white cornerback.
I'm thinking that's just a scenario where he wouldn't have to be the number 1 at either position. He could be the receiver 2. He could be the corner 2. He'd be a slot. I think something like that where he doesn't have to be the number 1 at one of those positions. He could be a Doug Baldwin as like a really good number 2 on the team, even though Doug Baldwin was that number 1, but was he really a number 1?
He can handle being the number 1, just not right off the bat, considering he is playing 2 positions. By the way, Najee Harris and the Chargers are working on something, if that means anything.
Is Dobbins a free agent?
No, I'm not sure, but they did release Gus the Bus today.
Wait, who's working with the Chargers?
Najee Harris.
Yeah. Apparently, Jaylen Warren has a second-round tender on him, too, so nobody's going to sign him.
I mean, Najee has already said goodbye to all his teammates already, so he's not going back to Pittsburgh, barring some...
Najee is like a less beefier Melvin Gordon for the Chargers.
Melvin Gordon was good.
Remember then he held out and he ruins his entire career.
Yeah, but he was never like.
Got even worse.
I was still waiting for him to break out on the Chargers before he held out.
Well, here's the thing: is like I thought he was a top 10 back in the league his last year, but then before he held out, and then nope. I was holding out to hope the Eagles would go get him. But then we went and got my boy Jay Jahi, and I was all hyped about that. So
there's just so much data out there that just shows if you sit out, it doesn't work. Didn't work for Le'Veon, didn't work for Melvin, it hasn't worked for Hassan Reddick, and it's not going to work out for whoever else is going to do it. But people still do it.
I know. All right, well, ladies and gents, that is the Corner Booth Podcast, episode 320. Shout out to our sponsors. Candips.com, promo code BUCK20 for 20% off your purchase at checkout. We have also Righteous Felon, promo code BELLYUP for 15% off your purchase at checkout. Official sponsor of Nate's, what we call it, Nate's prison cell? I can't remember. Penalty box, sorry.
Dang, it's a prison now? Holy cow.
Nate's penalty box. Also, official sponsor of Subi Knows. Subi will obviously be back on Thursday. he had to text me back and forth during that the Duke North Carolina game, where I was not a happy camper at the end of it. And of course, SeatGeek, the best ticketing app on the planet. Promo code Blab Sports for $20 off your first purchase at checkout. First purchase only. Also, shout out to Belly Sports and Belly Media for sponsoring this episode. We will see you guys on Thursday for the Corner Booth pregame, where we'll probably put a nice tidy bow on the majority of the NFL free agency. And we'll just kind of celebrate and enjoy ourselves because this old fart's turning 20, turning 30. I'm out of my 20s. It's terrifying. I hate it.
I'm about to be 25 in a few months in November. So
shut up, Nate.
I'll be 30 in October.
I know.
Dang.
Well, yeah, me and Matt are old. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Corner Booth Podcast. We will see you guys on Thursday. Peace. Howie, do something.